Hey guys, it's your average lady back at it again with another video. In this one, I felt somewhat inspired to create a 50s dress. Unfortunately, I am not an experienced seamstress and I have no training in historical wardrobe whatsoever, and so I'm kinda gonna wing it. And this might make everybody in the historical clothing community cringe a little. So I'm just gonna do my best and make a poofy knee-length skirt and a sweetheart neckline. Maybe even with a halter. Who knows? So, in my nifty pile of sewing stuff that I don't use enough, I've got this gorgeous fabric, a beautiful baby pink, and it's actually a tablecloth that I bought with another project in mind. And then I realized I didn't have enough fabric to actually do that project. So now this fabric was chilling in my fabric stash for about, I'd say a good 3 months, but now it's time to use it. So my skirt will be made of this fabric, and for the top, I chose this fabric that is actually a bedsheet, not the same bedsheet I made a parrot shirt of. It's another bedsheet, but it's very simple, white polyester, very basic. It'll be very baby pink and, you know, feminine. Even though I'm not the best at feminine stuff, I still kind of like those colors together. Let's jump into it, shall we?
So the first thing I did was take my bedsheet, fold it in half, and start draping my bodice. Now for this, I didn't use a pattern because I'm a bit of a dumbass. I just measured myself and did some maths, knowing I wanted one front piece and 2 side pieces. And since my fabric was folded in half, I just had to trace one bodice, one half of a bodice on the fold, and one side piece. I hand drew the curve. It was a little janky. I fixed it later, don't worry. This was just somewhat of a mock-up, just to know how it would drape on my body. Now, once I had all my pieces cut out, I pinned them in right side together to assemble a mock-up of my bodice. And here is a terrible shot of me in my bathroom trying it on, pinning it on a tight shirt. The angle was terrible. The way I put it on was terrible. I had a couple fixing to do. And fixing is what I did. I cut out some from the side pieces because they weren't draping the way I wanted to. Also, I realized that one of the side piece was too short compared to the other. I don't know what happened there. So I just cut out an entirely new piece and I pinned it on. Now you might notice this looks funky. That's because I pinned that one the right way. And then I went ahead and pinned the other piece the wrong way. I only noticed that after I sewed it, so I undid that seam and redid it again. I didn't include it in the video because I don't need you all to see all of my mistakes. Also, I got distracted at that point and my friend wanted me to go rock climbing. So I went rock climbing. And this may not look very impressive to you, but I'm very proud of what I did just there. That part was the hard part. Look at me go!
Commit. Yes, queen.
So yeah, after I came back from climbing, I changed and I started draping. and I started draping on the bodice. I did this because I wanted to add some dimension to the bodice, and also because the fabric is kind of sheer. And I think that's about the moment where it started looking not like a 50s dress and more like a 2000s prom dress, if you know what I mean. Well, yeah, there's probably a better way to drape things, but I did my best. That's what it ended up looking like. Also went ahead and draped the other side so it would crisscross in the middle, because I thought that would look funky as hell. This is probably the moment I need to tell you that this is not a tutorial in any sort of way. I did not use correct sewing methods. I jackassed the whole thing. Also, that piece of fabric was too short and I had to reconsider my life decisions and go grab a bigger piece of fabric. At this point, I was pretty tired of draping stuff and making nice folds because I'm not that good at making nice folds. Yeah, also, nobody wants to see the back of my dress. Well, not the back, the inside of my dress, because, well, it looks janky. And not the kind of janky you're like, oh, that's fun and special. No, cowboy janky. And that's what my bodice looks like. I ended up sewing the pleats in so that they would stay better because, well, I needed it to stay well. And then I went ahead and sewed. And that was also fun. I had to sew in my bodice with my vintage sewing machine. Please look at how beautiful she is. I looked up the serial number, and this sewing machine, it was patented in 1911, but my model got out of the factory in 1924, and I think that's pretty darn cool. Don't you think? Alright, enough about my sewing machine. That's the bodice, almost done. Then I realized that the sides were a little sheer, so I jackassed my way into making copies of the side panels so that I could double them. Had I thought this through beforehand, I could have just cut out 4 pieces instead of 2 for the sides, but do I look like someone that thinks ahead? So I just janked my way into it. It was fine. It was all fine. Also, I don't understand how people think sewing is so complicated and difficult. It is, don't get me wrong. It is difficult to sew well, but it is kind of accessible to all to sew poorly. And honestly, sewing poorly is kind of good enough. So I was about to show you how to fold a circle in 4 to make a circle skirt when I realized my thingy's in a fucking circle. This part, for some reason, is squished compared to this part, and so now I don't have a circle to make my circle skirt. I'll make a potato-ish skirt instead. And then, using the circumference of my waist and some nifty maths that I learned when I was 12, I was able to determine a diameter and then half of the diameter to make a circle out of that corner. So I folded my skirt in 4 and then I drew a quarter of a circle there. And once I cut it out, it was difficult to cut it out because, well, I wasn't holding my fabric right and shit. I successfully cut out a piece of fabric out of the middle of my skirt, and that round piece in the middle is the circumference of my waist. So now all I had to do was to pin the bodice to the skirt and then add a zipper. So to pin the bodice, I needed to make sure that the bottom of the bodice was also the circumference of my waist. So I put one pin down the middle and then I measured to make sure the sides finished at the right place. And then all I had to do was cry a little and slowly but surely make a rectangle fit on a circle. Was there a better way to do this? Probably. But once again, if I was someone that thinks things through beforehand, I wouldn't be myself and I wouldn't be posting it on the internet. So let me be. I did a lot of finagling. I didn't use the best method, but in the end it turned out fine. Now sewing that on was also a process because, well, there was a lot of layers at that point and everything wanted to fold everywhere, and I did not press anything because, well, do I look like someone who presses their seam? No, sir. So it was a shit show. But once the shit show was over...
Is it a dress? I can't see it. Is it a dress?
Yes.
It's a dress? Success.
And once I had something that resembled a dress, I cut a slit down the back of the skirt to accommodate for the zipper, because if I didn't, I had no way of putting that dress on myself. So I folded my edges and I pinned a zipper to them. I'm not going to show you the whole process because, well, I suck at zippers and it was a very laborious process. You're just going to have to trust me when I tell you I've put a zipper on it, okay? Thank you.
Can it hold itself for long enough without me touching it?
Oh, it's been filming.
Oh shit. So I put in a zipper. Looks kind of funky. I don't care. I put in a zipper and then I tried it on. And even though I look darn cute, I am very close from a nip slip. And this is not something we want on this channel, and this is not something I want in life. Therefore, I'm gonna be putting in straps. But, come here, look at how pretty my back looks in this. I don't want to put straps to hide my back. It looks hot. Therefore, I'm gonna be grabbing 2 strips of the top fabric. These are not the real strips, these are just scrap. And I'm gonna struggle with them for a while. And I'm gonna tie them here so that I have a little support so I feel safer in public, and it's gonna keep my back free. Isn't that a good deal? Also, there's some bullshit somewhere I need to fix. Yeah, that is not supposed to be happening. So I'm gonna fix some things, add in straps, and I'll meet you guys afterwards.
Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. Enjoy this little twirl of mine, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.